Welcome to learn a bit more about Trimble Unity Solutions, our new web-based solutions family. My name is Sanna Selikare. I will be your webinar host for this morning. I work for Trimble Solutions in Finland, and with me I have two of my colleagues, and I will let you present yourselves. Mari, would you start?
Thank you. So my name is Mari Erälahti, and I lead the product management for our network asset management and mobility solutions. And I will be starting this webinar, and then I guess Jussi can continue from that.
Hi, I'm Jussi Vatila, and I am working in Mari's team as a product manager, and these Unity solutions are one part of what I have in my portfolio.
Let's start. I will tell shortly something why we have started to build these web-based Trimble Unity solutions and what they are. And then, as mentioned, Jussi will show what they look like. So this is the agenda in brief. Okay, let's start then. I will start with this picture. Some of you may have seen this before, or at least something that looks pretty similar to this, but I wanted to include it here because these three things, user experience, security, and performance, are, as I see it, are the basic building blocks for any good software. And that's why we wanted to focus on these three things when we build our new web-based solutions. And in this Trimble Unity product family, which consists of several solutions, these things will be the focus. And as you can see from the pictures, our users work in very different conditions. Some of them work in the office, some of them in quite changing conditions in the field. And these Trimble Unity solutions are mainly for the office users. But as the office users sometimes need also to go to the field and continue the work there, these use cases, some of these use cases will be supported also in Trimble Unity. And yes, I'm just checking if the sound is still okay. I guess it is. So basically for the office users mostly, and utility Go remains to be the field tool, both web-based, as you know. And also security, so this is something that we cannot compromise at all, cybersecurity, data security, so that will be a very strong focus and has already been in the architecture design. And also we know the significance of performance, so that is something that we will focus very much on. Sorry, Jussi, if you can mute yourself. Okay, so what this means, I guess everybody has some kind of or some thoughts when thinking about web-based solutions. And for many, it means that they are modern and they are easy to use. And of course, that is often the truth. It also requires some work. So web-based solutions, of course, they are not by, or they can be by design, but they need to be designed. But that's, like said already, that will be our focus for these web-based solutions. Some also have worries about security, but like said, we have taken that into account in our architecture design, and actually some things in the web-based architecture are actually very well support the security goals. But there are other things as well, like you know that people currently they need to work from home more than usually, and maybe that trend will continue also after this pandemic. So also the access from home is quite important. Access from multiple devices from different conditions like the office and the field or home. And also the APIs which enable us and also our business partners to build new solutions, new things on top of the same platform. And of course also if it's easier to deploy these solutions to the office users, we will get more office users, which also gives more benefits to you in the utilities when more people can access the network and know what is happening there. So lots of benefits in these web-based solutions. And then something about the history. So those of you that have been with us for a long time, I would say longer than I have. So I've been here for more than 20 years. But those that have been even longer, maybe remember these times when we started from the beginning. And as you can see, we've had VAX, VMS, Unix, Windows, web, different platforms throughout our history. And all the time we've had the network model, the network digital twin, and the solutions for construction, operations, maintenance, planning. And these solutions have evolved at the same time as the platforms may have changed. Of course, these platform changes, they are not something that are done very rapidly and very often. So for instance, when I started more than 20 years ago, we had already a Windows solution then, but we also had Unix platform then supported. And now we've had the web-based solutions for several years now. So starting from Trimble Web Map, and of course Utility Go. I don't remember when we started it, but several years ago anyway. And now that we're building these Trimble Unity solutions, so that extends the web-based portfolio that we have. And what is important for you is that shifting from one platform to another is not something that you need to do rapidly and kind of it's not something that it's a one go change. But we're developing these Trimble Unity solutions in phases, and that's what you can do also. You can take these into use in phases in parallel with our desktop solutions, Trimble NIS, for instance, so that they utilize the same network model, the same database, and that means that you can have user groups and users who use Trimble Unity solutions. Some of them use Trimble Utility Go, some of them use Trimble NIS, some of them may use all three. So this is something that you can start planning, and you can take time as well. And I want to come back to the user experience, which is very important in this development. And just wanted to share this design thinking method that we use in our user experience design. And user experience design means that this is the way we design the software, the user interface. And it starts from the user. It starts from understanding, so it's this empathize part here, starts from understanding our users, what they do, what their challenges are, and how we could solve them. So basically first understanding and then defining how to solve the problems. And then finally, when we think that we have solved the problems, we need to test with our real users. And I want to thank you all here. I hope we have some people in the audience who may have participated in these usability testing. So thank you very much, and that will continue to be our focus. Then I could move on to the actual Trimble Unity solutions. So I'll start with this picture. Trimble Unity Network Manager in the middle means that it is the basis for these solutions. It is the basic solution. We have currently, I would say that we are pretty close to release the third Trimble Unity solution. And that means that this first one that will actually be released now in June is Trimble Unity Network Manager. And what you can do with it, it's like said, it's the basis. So you can view your network, you can edit the network, both the object properties, but also the geographic locations. You can view and search for customers. You can also search for objects. You can view the network on different background maps. You can also do some printing, and you can run finder queries which have been defined in Trimble NIS. So basic things that help you manage the network. And what we have after that, and I have to say at this point that we will have some new functionality released now in the next main version in June. And these will be included in this demo as well. And of course, we see that there will be lots of more things that would be useful and beneficial in this Trimble Unity Network Manager. So of course, that will evolve as well as time goes by. But then we have two additional solutions on top of this Trimble Unity Network Manager, Trimble Unity Contract Manager and Trimble Unity Planning Connector. And hopefully most of you have heard something about this already. And if not, now you will. Jussi will demonstrate shortly the Contract Manager, I think. The Trimble Unity Planning Connector is not demonstrated here because there's actually a separate webinar that has been held already. But I will very briefly tell what these are about. So Trimble Unity Contract Manager, as the name tells, is about managing the contracts. The contracts can be, for instance, land use contracts, but of course they could be something else as well. And it means that these contracts can be now tightly integrated with your network. And they can also be integrated with the field planning processes. So basically, when you plan a new network and you need to have the landowner's approval for building the network, you need the land use contract. So you can now handle all this process from planning the network, or when you have the network planned, you can start from the contract management from scratch with this Trimble Unity Contract Manager. And basically, so you can attach these contracts to your network plan, to the network objects, and then get all phases done. So you can add the stakeholders, calculate the compensations, and then finally get the agreement from the landowner in this one tool, either in the office or in the field. And of course, if you meet the landowner, that would obviously be in the field. And this also works with the tablets, and since it's a web-based solution, it can be taken into the field and the contracts can be finalized or totally created in the field. And of course, this means that if you go to the field, you have the network plan there and you can show it to the landowner doesn't agree and wants you to do some changes, you can do those changes, and then you can just move on to the contract creation and then finalize the documents and get the signature in one go. Means that you don't need to drive back and forth. So for instance, first meet the landowner, then get to the office and make the changes, send the documents for signing and get the signatures, etc. So you save time, money, fuel, nature. So basically, as a summary, a web-based tool for managing the contracts. And it works, this web-based tool works on all modern browsers, and also on tablets. Trimble Unity Planning Connector, so didn't mention yet, but the contract manager is available, of course, for all utilities that need to manage the contracts. Whereas this Trimble Unity Planning Connector is for water utilities and especially for Finnish water utilities related to a format that we use there. So Trimble Unity Planning Connector enables the water utilities to share their network data to external stakeholders, such as planning consultants. And that means that if the planning consultant has a task to plan new network, and they need the the master network to do that, they can now get the access to the master network on the region where they need it, and then they can check the data. They can maybe make some corrections if their data is wrong, if they see some errors there, and then they can export it in inframodel format and continue planning in their planning tools. And of course, it makes it more efficient for the planning consultant, but also more efficient for the utility. And at the same time, when the planner can actually correct the errors in in the network or in the network, those changes will be saved so that you don't need to correct them again, but actually the data quality will improve. So those are the 3 new solutions. So starting from Network Manager, the basis, and then Contract Manager and Planning Connector on top of that. And then just a quick word on the future. So as you saw in my bubble picture, there were some empty white bubbles there as well. So of course, this is a big effort for us building these new solutions and the new platform, and we will not stop here. So this is something that we will continue developing, and this will be our focus definitely, and we will introduce new solutions on top of this network manager. And what these solutions may be, so there probably will be several, but one thing that we are especially interested in at the moment is network planning, and that means both the office part of it and also the field part of it. So there are different things related to that, like editing the network, designing the geographical routes, doing the technical calculations, and also planning the construction. So these things are something that we're studying at the moment. Just wanted to share something about our thoughts at the moment. But I guess I've done my talking, and I would be happy to give the stage to Jussi now.
So I will show you around how the new Unity solution looks like. So I will be demoing this from a brand new development version, so that you can see all the new stuff that we have been working on. But on the other hand, it is a development version, so it's more than likely that you might see some hiccups here and there or error messages, but don't worry about those. So like Mari said, this is a browser-based solution, and with that comes requirements for security as well. In this login here, there's possibility and also our recommendation that you use multi-factor authentication. So in addition to just logging in, you can also enhance the security with SMS or email authentication on top of this. I don't have it in this environment, so I will just log in. So when I log in, I first arrive to sort of landing page or home page, and from here on I can start using the solutions, and for example, I have many sort of shortcuts to start working. So for example, if I'm just interested in seeing the network, I can just jump into the data and start browsing. I can open one of my recent plans that I have been working on. I have my sort of to-do list, so all of my assignments in this. At this phase, we have only the contracts from contract manager that have been assigned to me, but of course in the future this will expand this to include other things like plans assigned to me or tasks assigned to me and things like that. But from here I could just jump into this contract here and start working on it. And if I'm not interested in any of those, I can also browse through the plans I can see my favorites or my own plans, or even just look through all of them with using search functionalities and filters and things like that. But let me jump into one plan to begin with. So this is how how the main view looks like. Like you saw, the network came up without any loading of the network that you might be used to in Trimble NIS. So this is, in this regard, is very similar to UTG, utility to go, and the network gets loaded just as I pan around the map, and all of the visualizations or the network, it's in the same way as in utility to go. It's when I zoom out, it's if it's too far away, too small to see, it's or not interested, it disappears, and when I zoom in, I get more details. So I can also control what I see here by layers. So for example, here I can open a layer list where I can just tick what I want to see and what I do not. I can this layer list is fully configurable, so you can make any kind of hierarchy here that you want, and you can also, each user by themselves can also save some favorites to suit their needs. So for example, I have a couple of different selections saved here, so I don't have to toggle all of these. I can just pick. What I can also see on the main view is, well, background maps, which you can easily change, but you can also show other data. For example, here I have cadastral data, so estate borders, which coming from an external source. This is like an overlay map on top of the base map, or I can also show data from WFS sources. For example, here is these dashed lines are contour lines from Finnish survey agency, or I don't know what it's called in English, but anyway, so it's an example of WFS source. And I guess in the future, right now these are just presentations, but in the future I could also see the properties of these kind of WFS data. So I can already enhance the network data in many ways. What I also can see here is drawings, so notations that you've made with Trimble NIS or utility to go in the field. So the drawings that you are used to, they can also be seen here, and you can also add this. So it's not just the network. I can visualize the network in a couple of ways as well. So I had this example plan here, like a new housing area. So for example, I can visualize what my plan consists of. So there's a line that is going to get demolished, and then there's new lines for these houses here. And I can also toggle these visualizations on and off very, very easily. I can browse the network in many ways. So of course I can pan around and open properties, but I can also use search functionalities. So I can search network objects, locations by address, and also customer data. Let me, for example, I don't know if I have some error there, but anyway, so I can just type in stuff here, and it searches from predefined fields, and actually I would just click here, and the map moves to the correct location, and you can see the properties. But apparently I have something wrong in my environment, but let's not worry about that. So I can use the search functionalities, and then I can also use Finder that you are used to. I can. It's similar to what I have in WebMap. So I can't yet create my own queries in this platform, but I can run predefined queries. And for example, I can let's say that this is a predefined query where I can search for LV assemblies by certain parameters. So for example, in this one I have like by connection date, and as you know, the Finder queries, you can you know what it is capable of, and what. So you can have many parameters, or you can have predefined queries with fixed parameters and things like that. One difference, a nice difference for our old solutions is also that these visualizations, they are now nicely clustered, so you don't get, for example, or it's much more informative than just a lot of dots. And when I zoom in, these clusters will disappear, and you can see the individual results, for example, and you can, if you are interested in including these in printouts, for example, you can change the presentations on the fly to suit your needs and sizes and things like that, and you can also toggle these on and off and select the objects and do something else with them. So pretty much the same as in our other platforms. Okay, so let me then go to properties. So like Mari said, you can edit all the objects here if you have permission. So like like I said, we are working on top of the same model as in NIS, and also the same possibilities for restricting editing to certain fields or restricting editing from certain users. It's all of those possibilities are supported here as well. So I opened this distribution substation, and its properties can be seen in this side panel. Actually, I have my favorite attributes that the user can pick by themselves for themselves. So the most interesting stuff to view quickly, but then of course I have all the properties here. The organization of the data is also configurable by the utility, and like I said, if something is hidden from some user, it's also automatically hidden from the list here. And I have also attachments and other data. So, but anyway, so I can quite easily do some inline editing here. So no separate dialogues, but just edit the stuff here, and that's it. Then I can maybe show another example, like so it's not just the properties. In some cases, it's also other things. So here I have a connection point, and you can see the customer data here as well. Of course, if you have enough privileges to do that. But so, for example, I can see this is a apartment building, so I can see all of its client points, some information about those. If I want, I can go to that individual client point and see its data and who is the client there, and so on. Then so I showed you some of the possibilities in editing the properties, but you can also edit the geometry of the network. Let me go back to where my actual plan was. So in normal mode, you can't actually edit this, but if you want to edit the geometry, you can move to sort of editing mode. So this is just to prevent you from accidentally doing anything, especially if you are using touch screens in a field conditions with tablet or something. So we don't want to accidentally, of course, change the geometry. So, but when I'm in this mode, I can also edit the locations. So, for example, I can quite easily change this line to different location. I can, if I'm in the field and I have a possibility for GPS, I can also both when adding the new network objects and when editing this, I can also use positioning to put it in the correct location. I won't do that now because it would throw me to Espoo, where I'm located right now. But so you can edit the geometry here, and then you can also add new network if that's what you want, and this network editing, it obeys rules that you can actually now define for yourself too if you want. Of course, we provide meaningful defaults that resemble the rules that you have in Trimble NIs right now. So, for example, I'm adding a medium voltage line, and this green one here is low voltage line. So the rules say that I can't put it connect medium voltage directly to low voltage line, for example. Or it could be something like you can put a cooling pipe to heating pipe, or whatever network-based rules you have. You can have it to help the user in his work. So then we also have other tools available in this network manager. There are, of course, things like measuring distances, or some basic helpful tools for you. So like measuring distances, or I can make printouts. Well, actually, I would say that this is you make a PDF out of it, and of course you can do what you want with the PDF, share it with a colleague, or print it on paper if that's what you need. But I can select the scale and what kind of quality I want for the image, and so on. So here's an example of what it looks like. Oh, my browser blocked it, but well, I'll show that printout in a short while. Just maybe in the connection with the contract manager, which I'm actually gonna show you next. So all of the things that I've showed so far, they are part of the network manager. So the core of our Unity solutions that all the other applications are built on. So let me move to the contract manager then. So I can open it here from the top bar. It has its own panel here, and I'm just gonna quickly show this. So it's actually there's a lot of details concerning this contract manager, but I'm just giving you a short glimpse of what it can do. So like Mari said, it's meant for handling land use contracts and also other contracts if you want, but mainly land use contracts. So when you build new network, your utilities need to agree and pay the landowners for usage of their land. And here you can see the contracts. So I can actually see my things that are assigned to me that I should be looking into, or I can if I'm a planner or project manager, I can see quite easily the situation, the contracting situation in this plan. For example, here are all the contracts of this plan, and I can also visualize the network based on this information. So actually, all of my new plans, they don't have contracts yet. So I put some black visualizations to the network components that don't have contracts yet. And if I had made some contracts and connected them to the network, they would show up here. But in this example, I haven't done it yet. But let me do one example contract just in just a short while. But maybe before that, I'll show that if you are, let's say, a land use specialist within the utility, you can also view quite easily all the contracts. You can, like in my database, there are so many that you are actually not showing them here, but you can use nice filtering tools to select or see the contracts that you are interested in. So, for example, I could, well, I don't know if I have data in that particular field, but let me just show all the contracts assigned to me as an example. But I could use any of the properties of the contract to do this. But just to illustrate that, I have these kind of filters here that I can easily change, or I can choose, let's say, several people at the same time, and I can toggle this on and off and remove it. And this kind of quite nice filters that are same kind of tools that you have in all of our similar tables, like the plan list, for example. But yeah, let me make a new contract. So I'll add a new one. It's similar to object properties, so I have all the information here that I can fill up, but maybe I won't spend time on putting all these properties in place. But I can, the contract in addition to properties, it has parties. It has some parties that are added there automatically based on how you configure this, and I can also add new ones. And actually, like Mari said, I could be doing this with the landowner on his property while we discuss what has been planned to that particular landowner's estate. But I just maybe I'll just put my own information to make it quick. I don't remember my bank account, so I'll use this one. So I just added my information to the contract. I can connect the contract to estate, or depending on whether I have this data on my own environment or not. But anyway, so I'll connect this contract to an estate. I'll add some random compensation to it, which are based on price lists that you can define for yourselves. You can add comments like additional contract stipulations or clauses, or internal notes for various purposes. It can be, let's say, construction notes that, for example, that you remember that when you come to this landowner's land, you need to say, let's say, save some particular tree or some instructions on what the route actually is, and so forth. So you can add these kind of comments here that you can actually also include in the documents when you create them. So I added or saved this, or I have filled these required things to the contract, or at least in you can imagine that I've done it, and then you can also create actual contract documents, and I can also, well, let me demonstrate this. I can also create these map images as an attachment for the contract. So I skipped some steps. I didn't connect this contract to any of the network objects, so that's why it just threw me in some location. But if I had connected this to, let's say, a line, it would actually automatically go there and choose the proper size for the map image, but I didn't do it, so that's why I had to choose it by myself. So I created this image, and this is actually the same kind of image that I would have for the printout. So there's the network and all the drawings and some kind of label here and things like that. But if I want to create the document, I can pick what different parts that it consists of, which I can reorder and preview and things like that. And actually, if I'm in the field, I can also show the preview to the landowner, and if he's happy, he can even sign it right away. There's also possibilities to use electronic signing, and you can create a PDF and print it if you want, or if the landowner wants, but you can also sign it right away with his finger. And now I got the final signed contract document in just one go, with the signatures and everything. So I guess my time is running out, so that we have time for questions. This was just a very quick go through of the current status of our Trimble Unity solutions, and just as Mari said earlier, this is just the beginning, and you will see much more in the coming versions.
Thank you, Jussi, and thank you, Mari, for your presentations. So now it's time to go through your questions, and thank you for those questions. We get a whole bunch of them. So probably we won't have enough time to go through all of them, but I will try to pick up the most interesting or the most common topics, and then we will also try to be concise in our answers. So starting off with the background maps in Unity, is it possible to use external maps or user-specific maps like DXF formats? Is it possible to import those to Unity?
Not at the moment, but I guess that is one thing that will be or is in the pipeline for new development. So of course, if you that's a short answer. Of course, you can use your own maps and create them, but not user-specific maps right now.
So basically, if you can have WMTS, so the tile maps, or WFS maps, you can have these as background.
Yep, thank you. Then we had a bunch of questions related to maintenance. So first, is it possible to see the maintenance data in Trimble Unity?
Yes, a good question. So one thing that I didn't show before is that we also have this additional information tab here, where actually I don't have any meaningful data right now, but the idea is that in here you can see, so not edit but view some application data like technical calculation results or maintenance data. So it's not in this version, but that's also something that's coming soon, I think. So the ability to view the maintenance data in this tab.
Okay. How about the maintenance functionality in general, which currently is in Utility Go? Are there any plans on including, or perhaps not just what's included in Utility Go, but is there any plans on extending the maintenance functionality on the Unity side?
Yeah, that's a good example of a solution that is definitely needed at some point. So we're currently studying what kind of solutions we need to have and prioritizing and scheduling them. So maintenance is one of them, but Utility Go will remain as the maintenance field solution.
Then how about the presentation that Jussi that you showed in Unity? How is that created? Is it based on the NIS presentation, or is it perhaps created in the same way as with Utility Go?
The presentations are actually using the same definitions as Trimble NIS, so you can get exactly the same presentation in this platform. So it's a different way than in Utility Go. So actually, meaning that you don't need to do any definitions when you to the presentations when you take this into use. You can use the existing ones immediately.
And I think there was also a question about attribute-based presentation, so that's also supported.
Okay. Then is the viewing mode set on by default when you log in?
Yes.
Good. Then a question regarding Finder. You presented how nicely it clusters the result symbols, but is it possible to use it without clustering? So is there a choice between the two?
Yes, I think that you can disable. I don't remember for 100. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that you can disable it too if you want.
Yeah. Then regarding the login or authentication to Trimble Unity, is it possible to use an existing Microsoft Active Directory authentication with Unity?
Currently not, but that is something that we have heard it before, and it's definitely something that we will study further.
Yeah. And then Jussi, you showed how it's possible to edit the network and change the location of the cables. There was a question whether it's possible also to change the objects within, for example, a substation or distribution substation diagram.
Yes, it's possible. So it actually works in the same way as in Trimble NIS. So you can just go and zoom into the diagram.
Yeah. Then questions regarding either printing or exporting data from Unity. So is it possible to print from Unity, for example, to a DXF file?
Not at the moment. So the only format for exporting right now is the infra model that Mari told you about in regards of the planning connector. But again, that is something that's in our roadmap.
Yeah, so I guess that applies to exporting data as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, then when you're doing changes in a plan, can it be seen instantly for other people who are currently using the same plan? So if you're doing changes in one plan and then someone else is using the plan at the same time, can they automatically and instantly see the changes that you've made?
Well, first of all, the changes that I do need to be saved first. So if I say change properties, you are just changing them in your own session, and you need to save them before they are visible to anybody else. But I'm not actually 100% sure of the technical if there are any delays. But of course, if I change, for example, properties of this substation, and when somebody else opens it, the changes are there. But for example, if the property form is open in a different session in the same plan, then you might not. So it's in that regard, it's similar to what we have in NIS.
I'm conscious that we're 1 minute past 11, but I would still like to present a few questions to you, Jussi and Mari. So if someone needs to leave at this point, thank you for attending, but we'll still be answering a couple more questions. There was a continuation question regarding the background data or background maps. So Mari, you mentioned WMTS as a background map format. Is WMS also supported?
Not my core competence, but I'm imagining that it's the tile-based. Jussi, if you know better, you can answer.
Yes, I'm also not expert on maps, but yeah, so tile-based maps are supported, and I would say that pretty much similar support as in utility to go.
Okay.
And also those WFS maps are now supported.
Yes.
Yeah. So then, is it possible to see calculation results in Unity?
Yes, if you are talking about electrical network, those are included in this first release of the network manager. Actually, this test environments configurations are not up to date on that regard, but I would see both load flow and short circuit in here in this additional when I select a line. So in this additional data tab, so there would be a couple of sections here with the results. And this additional data thing here, it's quite quite easy to expand to, let's say, water network calculation results or heat network calculation results, or and maintenance data and things like that. So I think we will be expanding this quite soon.
And then one last question, are there tracing possibilities in Unity?
Not in this version, this release, but the tracing functionalities are also in a roadmap, and I would say that more likely to be sooner than later.
So thank you again, everyone, for joining, and have a nice rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.